Hello, I'm Lamisila Pamela Ngubane, and this is the Entity Dynamics podcast. Entity Dynamics is a culture development consultancy where we believe that culture creates behavior and behavior creates reality. So today I want to talk about how we lose focus on our dreams and our goals based on what we think we should be doing in this world and what we think we should be doing for society. However, the reality is that human beings are not just organic matter that's been assembled together in organs that create systems which create an organism. We are more than just the physical bodies that we inhabit. We are more than just the physical places we live in and the physical families in which we are born into and the societies in which those families exist, right? We are consciousness embodied in bodies, and that is supposed to fulfill certain obligations that we actually set out to fulfill before we were born, right? And there's clues to this. For example, when we dream, you can dream and can be someone else completely, a different gender, a different race. You can be in a different place that you've never seen before, meeting people you've never met in physicality. You can even be an animal. Sometimes you can just be a disembodied consciousness, observing things, not even interacting. You know what I'm saying? There's people who've talked about astral travel, where they can actually leave their body as themselves and go to different places and actually see real things happening in those places. There's people who are able to project their minds into different locations and see what's happening in those locations, So it shows you that you and we exist beyond the physical body. And that's why when someone dies, we say they have gone. Because we all know, that actually what animates this body is not just the body on its own. There is a force, which is consciousness, and a soul. I don't think consciousness and the soul are actually the same thing. Maybe consciousness emanates from the soul. I don't know how the mechanism works there. But anyway, the point is, we know that the person and the personality and the mind and the emotions and the beingness, the thought processes, is something that exists embodied, using the body as a vehicle, but is not confined to the vehicle, does not emanate from the vehicle, but is controlling the vehicle. You know what I'm saying? So as human beings, we have to, and this is why, for example, Abraham Maslow came up with his hierarchy of needs for the human being to have a full experience of being alive on this planet. He talked about how you need shelter and food, and then you need communion with people, and you need education, and you need ways to creatively express yourself and earn a living, and then build a legacy, and then beyond that, self-actualize and understand yourself as a spiritual being. So this is actually, we're supposed to be doing all of that when we're here, not just making ends meet so that we can meet our physical needs. We need to meet our physical needs. Yes, of course, keep our body and soul together, because if our body is not nourished and sheltered and clothed, then, the soul's not going to be able to stay in here for long, because you're probably going to end up dead because you're sick and overexposed to the elements, right? Obviously, we also need communion and socialization and, procreation so that we can continue the species. But then we also need to be able to express ourselves, our personality, and find fulfillment in doing so. And this is why I say it's so important that in terms of career development, we really develop a culture of career orientation where we get people to have careers that fulfill themselves on a personal level, so that they feel fulfilled, so that they can then also get to the next step of self-actualization, because when you do a career that fulfills you as a person, then the ability for you to self-actualize and start thinking of yourself as something more than just this physical body, more than just a member of a particular family and a society, then you're reaching like the top. You are fulfilling the top need of a human being, which is to understand why you are on this planet in the first place. I don't know who said it. I don't know if it was Picasso or whoever, but he said, or was it Einstein? I can't remember. Anyway, someone said the most important day of your life is when you are born. The next most important day is when you understand why you were born. And that's where self-actualization happens. We all came here for a reason. Every one of us. Even the person who we might look at and think, this person really has no purpose on this planet. All of us are here for a reason, and we all affect each other in what we do. And the most important thing, from my understanding, is to bring about harmony in the creation. That's why we're here, because free will allows all sorts of crazy things to happen, because people and beings are allowed the free will to express themselves and explore themselves in whatever way they feel like doing so. But then beyond the free will, it's to understand that we are all actually part of the same creative source, and that that creative source seeks to exist in harmony with itself, and how do we use our free will to facilitate that harmonization? Now, no one's going to be forced to live in harmony, However, in terms of like the beneficial functioning of all, it's better to be in harmony. Just like with your body. It's better for your body to be in harmony with itself, and for you to be in harmony with your body, for there to be peace and progress and forward movement, And even when it comes to reaching the point of self-actualization in terms of Maslow's hierarchy of needs, if you can be in harmony with yourself and in harmony with your world, then so much easier it is for you to reach that point of self-actualization. And if the whole world can also be in harmony and peace, more people will self-actualize, and then there'll be more harmony and peace and more progress on the planet, So I think this is what we're here to do as humans, is to bring about this harmony and peace. Obviously, on the way, we encounter all sorts of drama and stress and crises, but those are also there. And my understanding that we actually agree to experience these things and to experience trauma and stress from different people, as well as like good vibes and interactions with other people. But those are there to show us that, show us what the problem is, what it is we need to fix, or what we need to harmonize. And also to show what disharmony looks like, so that it can actually be dealt with, so that harmony can be established. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's called transmutation. When something negative is absorbed and assimilated into the consciousness and understood, and then used as fuel to see how do we overcome division within ourselves and within our society, so that we can create this harmony. Moving from a place of polarity and conflict to a place of unity and harmony. Obviously, it's not like that easy, but that's the goal. And so I think we're here to earn money, be famous, have designer clothes, and then that's it. But no, that's not all that we're supposed to be doing. You can earn money, be famous, and wear designer clothes, but for the purpose of bringing about harmony in the creation. And I think that's what we all actually want to achieve, because we are souls that are connected to Source, to the Creator, to God. And that's what God wants. And that's why all these scriptures all over the world say the same thing. Live out your purpose so that you can fulfill the plan that you and God came up with before you came here. Okay, I hope you've enjoyed that. Bye.